Oh, hey there, and welcome to another lecture, another button lecture. In this lecture, we're going to be working on um, this cool checkbox button. The code is by Yancy Min. Alright, this is the final product. And we're going to use have an input, a checkbox input, and a label for that button. I named it toggle. In our CSS, we're going to begin with our basic reset, setting our padding and margin to 0, our box sizing to border box. We're going to style our body with 100 viewport height, flex display, justify content center, align items center. And all we have is a checkbox. Display. For our button label, we're going to display flex, justify content center, align items center. Our cursor pointer, width 110 pixels, height 80 pixels, and we'll add a little bit of padding to that. And make our border radius 40 pixel and a dark gray, medium gray background. Our transition will be 0.25 seconds, ease in and out. And button display none removes the checkbox. Now we're going to create a before element on our label, which will be the little line that becomes a circle. We're going to need an empty content string, 48 pixel width, 8 pixel height, with a border radius of just 4 pixels. And our starting background color will be green. And our transition will be also 1/4 second, ease in and out. Now, when our button is checked, we're going to alter our before element within our label. We're going to transform translate X by 90%, shifting it to the other side of the label. Change our width to 64 pixels and our height to 64 pixels. Our border radius to 100%, essentially creating a circle. And we'll change this background to white, adding a little bit of box shadow, 2 pixels on the bottom and 8 pixel blur. Guys, have a look at that. Okay, I understand what I've done. Because it's Yancy Min's code, he changed the dimensions for content display as opposed to a content box as opposed to border box. So just change that over and everything will work fine. And we're just going to change the background of the label so when it's clicked, it changes to light green. All right, there you have it. Any questions? Hit up our Q&A. Don't have any questions? Don't hit up our Q&A. Take care. All right, hey guys, how you doing? In this lecture, we're going to be working on creating a cool button on and off effect using the checkbox function. It means we don't have to use JavaScript. It's just a power off and power on. Of course, the applications you can apply anywhere. Yeah, we're using Font Awesome for our icon, version 4.7.0, and our class, the FA power off for the icon. All right, so you can see we got the icon, we got the checkbox next to it. Yeah, we'll just follow along in CSS and we'll see how we turn that into the glorious button you saw at the beginning. Basic reset, padding, margin 0, box size and border box. So for our body, we're going to do 100 viewport height, background just black, display flex, justify content, align items center. Oh boy, there we go. So now we're going to style our label class. Give it a relative position, width of 80 pixels, height of the same, and cursor pointer. Border radius 50%. And background white. Okay, so you can see there's our circle. The icon's off to the side, and we still have that checkbox that we do not want. So, for our checkbox class, which you can see there, we're going to apply display none, and it all disappears. We're going to style our button within one of our spans and do position absolute. Top 0, left 0. Display, no, not inline, block. Okay, because we're dealing with spans, and that the automatic is an inline display, so we have to define the display's block. Width 100%, height 100%, and just a dark gray black background. Blackground, that's a cool word. Border radius of 50%. Pretty much where the white circle used to be, only we made the white circle disappear with the display none on the label. So now we're going to style the icon, which is the icon we took from Font Awesome. We're going to give it absolute position. 50% from the top, 50% from the left. And translate, minus 50%. And minus 50% just to center it. Our font size, 40 pixels. And color, use another black. Okay, so you see we got the gray outline and our black icon on top of it. So now, what we're going to do, we're going to apply the effect by changing how the entire label, changing how the icon class looks when the checkbox is checked. Okay, so we're going to change the color of the font to light blue, which is changing the color of the icon. I'm just going to apply a little bit of text shadow with just a darker blue. And all right, save that, refresh. I would click. Okay, yeah, it looks cool. Looks like an actual power button, which is nice considering we are trying to create a power button icon. So I'm also going to add a box shadow to the button itself. The label using the button class. And as the inset is the shadow that goes inside, and the regular shadow is the shadow that's around. And if you don't create your own shadows, you don't have to make it up all from scratch. What you can do is just go online and go to a box shadow generator, and it's set up really nice. You input what you need, how you want it to look, and it'll do the rest for you. So our shadow creates a cool 3D effect on the button when it's not clicked, or when the checkbox is not checked. Okay, exactly. All right. Okay, so I'm just gonna copy this and apply a different shadow for when the label is checked. When the checkbox is checked, I'm just gonna remind you the first number in the shadow is for left and right. The second number, top and bottom. Third number is for blur radius, and the fourth button is for spread radius. Right, so yet again, generated online, copy my own. See you in the next lecture. Hey everybody, how you doing? In this lecture we are going to be creating another checkbox button with both a cool button effect and a cool background effect. Alright, let's get right into it and see what we're going to be working on. Alright, within our body you can see we have an input checkbox and a span within that class called with a class of check. Alright. Important to remember, span is an inline element, and if you want to change its width and height, you'll need to change that to block. Alright, we're going to do a basic reset. And we're going to change all our before, after, and our regular elements. Padding 0, margin 0. Box sizing, border box. Excellent. All I have is a checkbox at the moment. We're going to change the minimum height of our body to 100 viewport height, display flex, justify content center, and align items center. Okay, so we have a centered, almost centered checkbox. And we're going to style our class check. Go to position relative and display black. Width of 40 pixels and a height of 20 pixels. Our background, our starting background will be a dark blue. Our cursor will be a pointer, and border radius of 20 pixels. We're going to hide overflow. And our transition is going to be ease in with a duration of half a second. Okay, so we've created our little, what's going to be our not a checkpoint, it's our little button. Looks like an iPhone icon. And we're using a display block. So we're going to change, our input, which is our checkbox. We're going to display none. That just makes it makes the checkbox disappear because the checkbox is automatically added by your browser. So what we're going to do is when our box is checked, well, first we're going to change the color of our little button. I made that white, and how we change the entire background is we're just going to create a massive box shadow blur around it. There you go. So that's all that blue is really just box shadow. And now we're going to create a before element, which is our little the little circles in our switch. Okay, so empty content string, position absolute, top 2 pixels, left 2 pixels, background white, and a width of 10 pixels and a height of also both our width and height 16 pixels, and our border radius as 50%, which is transition again 0.5 seconds. Okay, so you see that's our little white circle. Now, when checked, all right, so what we're going to do is we're going to apply a transition to our before element, the little white circle, when the checkbox is checked. And we're just going to translate it right out of the picture by minus 50 pixels to the left. This moment you click it, it's gone. Okay? Unclick it, comes back. And we're going to create another element, which is just another circle, and it's going to be our after pseudo element. It's going to be identical except for its position. Alright. Change this and its background. We're going to change the background to black because, as you know, we've made our color. Our background is white, so we're going to have our little circle be black. Okay, you can't see it right now because it's not there. We're gonna so it starts out transform translate x 50 pixels, which means it's way off to the right somewhere. And when checked, we're gonna have it translate back to 0 pixels. All right, you see, so it just replaces our white circle. And there you go. There you have it. That's the animation. That's your checkbox. It's pretty awesome. And see you next lecture. Hey guys, and welcome back. Today we're doing an underline hover effect. That's what it looks like. There you go. Now it comes in from the left, disappears to the right. We just have an anchor link in our HTML with a class button, btn. Now in our CSS styling, into our basic reset. Padding 0, margin 0, and box sizing border box. And we're going to give our height 100 VH. Dark blue background. There you go. Our button's still in the corner, so we're going to bring it to the middle using our flex technique, which display flex, justify content center, align item center. There are more ways to do this, but I'm just going to use this one. Now we're going to add some padding to the button. And make it white. Font size a bit bigger. Make it all uppercase. And remove the underline with text decoration none. Okay, now we're going to display it as an inline block, because if you just automatically the button is displayed as inline, so you can't change its height or its width. But if you display it as inline block, you can play with that. We're going to create a before element, which is our line underneath, empty content string, because you need it, and we don't want any text there. Position absolute, which means it's relative to our button. We're going to give it a height of 1 pixel. Width of 100% of our button. Oh, there you go. Now we're going to add a transform scale. Transition of 0.4 seconds. So when you hover, you will see that it transforms. It's going to scale from 0 to 1. Now that's coming from the center. We don't want it from the center, so we just need to change its origin to the left. See, it's bouncing out from the left. We want it to disappear to the right. So in our hover button, we change the origin to right. So it thinks it actually came from the right, so it disappears. And there you go. And that's all for this time.